Right. Okay. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. We'll be starting within the next couple of minutes. Thank you for your patience. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you here today. Before I introduce our speaker Tanvi Bhatt, we'll play a short video and we'll then get started. Thank you.
Leaders are very many, but thought leaders, in my humble opinion, they're a rare and distinguished breed.
Leaders make news, but thought leaders make history.
Be inspirational. Think, do, inspire. This is the mantra of a true thought leader. Innovation is a love child between imagination and inquisitiveness. And when the twain meet, impossible becomes nothing. Innovation need not be all rocket science and moon habitation worthy. It can be a newer, better, faster, cheaper, cleaner, greener, or a healthier way to disrupt your industry. But disrupt, it must.
Do not become storytellers. The whole world is trying to become a storyteller, isn't it? Become a story shaper.
It's all about authenticity. It's all about celebrating who you are in your real life. Every single day, ask yourself just one question. What is it that I can do that nobody else is thinking or doing today? And by doing that, how can I transform life, transform my world as we know it? What would you rather measure your life by? An average human has approximately 70 years or give or take 25,000 days to live. In this titanic journey of life, would you have rather lived for just 25,000 days or have built a legacy that will outlive you for another 25,000 days?
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome once again to each and every one of you. I'm just going to run through quickly the slides. As we know, today we're here to listen to the personal branding blueprint and 11 secrets of success in that space. Those of you who'd like to explore partnering with Right Selection for our online events, please do connect with us. It'd be a pleasure to collaborate and explore and co-create together. Today, you'll have the opportunity to share your feedback by clicking on the LinkedIn post that we have for today's event and share your feedback on your learning experience today and what your takeaways are from today in terms of from Tanvi's presentation, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. Just want to ensure that you're using Google Chrome so you have a stable connection, and to enjoy the session we have today, we encourage you to keep your mobiles on silent or keep them away to enjoy this high value webinar that's especially for you. There'll be an opportunity to take notes of things that become ahas for you from what Tanvi shares. And we also encourage you to have a glass of water so it's ensure you keep hydrated. Thank you. That's going to be our next upcoming webinar, which is coming up on 10th of June. That's Wednesday, 10th of June. To me, identity theft, fighting the increased risk of working remotely is a very, very key area on a personal and professional basis, be it your mobile, be it your laptops. And this gentleman is a world-renowned expert in that space. So he'll be with us on Wednesday, 10th of June. And yes, this is our webinar series. As you can see, we have upcoming webinars with international speakers, including Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So we look forward to welcoming you on the upcoming sessions. So the video spoke leaps and bounds of the credibility of our speaker and our thought leaders with us today. She's been on all the media platforms there in India, both in print and online, be it radio, be it TV. She's been a personal branding coach to many of the CEOs of globally renowned companies here in India. And I'm honored and privileged to say that I've had the pleasure of being coached personally by Tanvi. I've done a personal branding audit and been coached with her on understanding how I'm perceived as a brand personally, and see the areas that I can fill as I work towards building my personal brand in the coming year. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Tanvi Bhatt. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gautam, for that warm introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well and taking good care of yourself. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is an honor to do this session with you all and be a partner in your journey of building your personal brand as a thought leader. So, are we ready to kickstart the journey of celebrating the brand you? If yes, let's type in the chat box, say, waiting to go. Okay, before we begin, I would really like to read the virtual room and understand where each one of y'all are today in your respective journeys of personal branding. So if you could please participate in this short poll that we're going to do to help us understand how we can possibly serve y'all better. So if Gautam can help me play the poll for everyone's benefit, that would be awesome. So please help us understand where you are in your journey. Are you just discovering the wonderful industry of personal branding? Have you ever done some level of personal branding activities, exercises, initiatives for your careers? And are you ready to take it to the next level and have a focused game plan created and curated by some expert to help you make the most of this fantastic philosophy of personal branding. Great. So we have a lot of freshers. We also have a few people who've done some work in this area. Interesting. Okay, I hope everyone's shared where we are today in our journey. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so are we ready to start celebrating the brand you? All right. Welcome once again to this amazing journey that you're going to embark upon me today and hopefully in the near future as well. Today, we're going to talk about three most important elements of personal brand strategy. Number one, we're going to help you understand what is that first step you have to do before you begin your personal branding strategy. Number two, I'm going to teach you how to stand out in your industry by crafting a powerful personal brand statement. And number three, as promised, and I know this is the thing you all are waiting for and you all are here for today, my signature 11-step blueprint that will help you start building your personal brand today. So, are we ready to start? Let's go. According to you, okay, forget personal brand, normal brands, company brands, product brands aside, what is a brand, right? For me, a brand is nothing but a beautiful combination of expectations that people have out of you, the memories that you've had with you, the stories that they've heard about you, the reputation that you've built in the industry, and the relationships that you've had with the entity or the brand that you may call it. Because all these decisions, when they come together, they influence our consumers to buy one product over the other, to invest in one brand over the other. And that, my friend, is the power of a brand. The multi-dimensional touch points it has with its audience is where the true power of a brand lies. And it does not matter whether it's a corporate brand or a personal brand, mark you. So the million-dollar question to set the context, do you believe you are a brand? Say yes or absolutely yes in the chat box for me to understand what your mind state is. Do you believe you are a brand today? It's either yes or absolutely yes. There are only two options. Like Gautam calls it, it's a mafia strategy. I will not take no for an answer. Okay, fantastic. Everyone is saying yes, yes, yes. I was hoping for some absolutely yeses as well. But never mind, I'll get it to become an absolutely yes by the end of the session. So, yes, we are a brand today. I'm not saying we are legends, but yes, we are a brand. And what we believe our brand to be, the world comes to believe in that. Because let's face it, if you don't value your personal brand, if you are not confident of your self-worth, your potential, how will you ever communicate the same to the world? How will they ever come to believe in the power and the potential of your personal brand the way you do? So step one, give absolute clarity and pride in your own personal brand. Because if you don't do that today, you allow yourself to become vulnerable. You allow the world to think whatever they may want about you. And you allow yourself to be vulnerable to their thoughts, feelings, and stories because you did not take the initiative to put your best foot forward. You did not take the initiative of celebrating your brand and voicing your brand loud and proud. So tell me, do we want to be vulnerable? Yes or no? Share with me in the chat box right away. How many of y'all would want to be vulnerable in your life? Tell me when it comes to your personal brand reputation. Absolutely not, right? I mean, why would you want to be at the mercy of others so that they may think what they may want about you? know what they may want about you, and obviously talk what they may want about you to others, because those conversations usually happen when you're not in the same room with them. So the right strategy is to give them such awesome food for thought and content for talk that they're able to do absolute justice to your personal brand when they're talking about you when you're not in the same room with them. All right. So the way you present your personal brand, your thought leadership, your genius to them is the way they will most likely talk about you. It's as simple as that. Clear? Okay, fantastic. So, what is your personal brand? Tell me, what do you think your personal brand is? Have you ever thought about it? What have you believed your personal brand to be till date? Before coming for this session, what was your perception of your personal brand? In one word, tell me. Please share your thoughts with us in the chat box so we know what you believe your personal brand is as of today. Do you think it's your identity? Do you think it's your reputation? Do you think it's the story you have to share? Do you think it's the way you walk and talk and dress? What is it? According to you, what constitutes a personal brand? So a lot of people are saying expert, thought leader, authenticity, reliability, trust, approachability, honesty, sincere, hardworking guy. Okay, fantastic. So what you guys are saying is what you believe your personal brand to be, how people are perceiving you, right? While all of these are correct to a certain extent, but my friend, you're forgetting that your personal brand goes way deeper than just a manifestation of your personality, right? Authenticity, hardworking, reliable, trustworthy are fantastic character traits or values that you bring on the table. But your personal brand is larger than life. Okay? Your personal brand is your core thought leadership. It is your value that you bring on the table, unlike anybody else. It's how you think differently, what you do differently, what you build differently, how you envision the future differently. It's a beautiful combination of all these things, known as, in the larger umbrella, your thought leadership. Okay? And your thought leadership becomes the compass of your leadership. Think of it like that. Thought leadership is the ABCs of your journey of leadership, because unless you have that absolute clarity about what, where, how, with whom, how will you do justice to your journey of leadership? Okay. And when these two combine, when you have absolute clarity about your personal brand and its thought leadership that you want to build as your brand, and you carve a foolproof strategy to build your brand as a thought leader by doing all the right things that I'm going to teach you today, that is when you will be able to build an invincible leadership brand for yourself in your industry. Okay, so this is the formula I'm going to leave you with today. Your personal brand and your thought leadership strategy. What you decide to do with your personal brand is responsible for building your leadership brand, regardless of the industry, regardless of your profession, regardless of the stature or the number of experience or expertise that you have. Okay, this is it. There's nothing beyond it. Okay, so what do you think about this? Are you surprised to learn this? Is it something that has really opened your horizon to what your personal brand is and how you can possibly start building your brand proactively? If yes, then please say yes in the chat box so I know that I have your absolute attention. Okay, so as responses start trickling in, I know this is a brand new perspective for a lot of y'all. Okay, so we'll take it one step at a time. Let us first focus on the major difference between leaders and thought leaders, because today I'm going to teach you how to stop being just a leader and start evolving as a thought leader, right? Leaders are just known to be storytellers because they keep on talking about the story that they've been through. But thought leaders are different from this aspect because they teach you how to shape your own story while they are shaping theirs, right? So leaders may or may not be influencers, right? They influence you to do something that is probably in your best interest, hopefully, right? But a thought leader will always enrich you to help you lead your life to your next milestone. That, my friend, is a distinction between being a leader and being a thought leader. So ask yourself, are you happy and content just being a leader in your organization, in your business, in your industry? Or are you ready to become a thought leader and inspire millions of more leaders and people in your community to start thinking and becoming thought leaders as well? Are you ready to become a thought leader? Is my question to you. If yes, please say yes, ready to go in the chat box. So, how many of you are ready to go? Awesome. Great. The most important question for you to understand right now is how do you now start building your brand as a thought leader? And this, my friend, is the most important step, believe me, because whenever you're starting a new journey, you need to be absolutely sure of the starting line where you are today, right? Because you have to build on that. So, like I said earlier, the most important step for you when you begin this journey of building your thought leadership is to understand what is the existing reputation of your personal brand. And this I can help you achieve in the next 5 minutes right here, right now. How about that? So, are you ready for a very exciting and enriching game called the Brand Me Evaluation, where I'm going to help you discover your existing personal brand identity and reputation that you have in your industry. I'm going to help you discover what is it that people know, think, feel, and talk about your personal brand. Are you excited for this? Say yes, can't wait if you're excited about this. Okay, so this beautiful matrix that I've designed is called the brand evaluation matrix. Okay, and you're going to do 4 things in the next 5 minutes. Step 1 is you do this entire exercise for yourself. It's called self assessment. You evaluate your personal brand right here with me by answering these 4 questions, which are going to be coming up on the next slide. Step 2 is you ask those 4 questions to any 5 people in your life. These could be your colleagues, peers, friends, family, spouses, mentors, anyone that you believe is important enough to reach out to and seek the input from. Because this exercise is going to help you understand how they perceive you as a brand. Okay. Now, these 4 quadrants of this matrix you see will talk to you about 4 different dimensions of your personal brand. Number 1, animal. It helps you understand how people perceive you as a character, as a personality. Number 2, the car or a bike quadrant is a measure of your performance. It will help you understand how people are perceiving you as a performer. Do they think you're a rock star Ferrari brand, or do they think you are a Dhila Dhala Wagoner brand? Okay. Number 3 is what is your public appeal, or what kind of emotional impact you have on people? How do you make them feel, right? And quadrant 4 will help you understand your own potential that you might have never taken cognizance of till date. Exciting? So these are the 4 questions I want you to ask yourself right now. Ask yourself, if I were an animal, what animal would I be and why? And feel free to substitute it by birth. There's absolutely no pressure, right? This question gives you insight about your brand character. Ask yourself, if I was an animal, would I be a tiger? Would I be a cheetah? Would I be a lion? Would I be a snake? Would I be a rabbit? Would I be a wolf? Each of these animals have these unique brand characters, right? And when you think about yourself in terms of these personas, you get amazing insights on how you are perceiving your brand. And also, when you ask these questions to people in your community, you get amazing insights on how people are going to be perceiving your personal brand. Okay. Number 2, ask yourself, if I am a car or a bike, how do I perceive myself from a performer perspective? Okay. So, for example, if you choose a Rolls Royce, you know what a Rolls Royce stands for, what brand attributes and performance metrics it stands for. Vis-a-vis, if you say Toyota, you know again what a brand Toyota stands for. It's about trust, reliability, stability in the brand and its performance. Or a bike, it could be Hayabusa or it could be a Harley Davidson. Ask yourself which of these brands of cars or bikes resonate with who I am and how I perform and how I see myself as a performer. Because when you ask this question to your community, you will be amazed at what kind of amazing answers they come up to these questions of yours. Because again, remember, these are open-ended questions that you're going to ask them, right? So they'll also tell you why, more importantly, and that aspect of reading between the lines is the most exciting learning that you will get from this exercise. Okay, moving on to question 3. If you were a movie, this is perhaps my favorite because, many of us forget that we as human beings, as aspiring people brands, the most important weapon in our arsenal, in our personal brand strategy is emotional impact, how we make people feel. And that is the deal maker or the breaker. So you have to be very, very, very cognizant of the fact that you as a person brand have an emotional impact on people that you live, work, and play with. What kind of an emotional impact are you having on people? Are you an entertainer brand like Singham or the new movie Simba that came recently? Or are you a tearjerker brand like a Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum? Or are you horrifying brand like The Conjuring? Or are you a mystical, mind-blowing brand like Inception or Interstellar? So ask yourself, what kind of an emotional impact I believe I am having on people? Okay. And finally, what happens is many of us, when we look at ourselves, we are our worst critics, right? So we never see the best of us more often than not. And because of that, we forget to see that there is a deeper potential that we have. So ask yourself, what is that potential that I have? And when I do this exercise like this, ask yourself, if I were to be reborn as somebody, who would that be and why? Because more likely than not, that person has inspired you and you believe somewhere deep within your heart that you can elevate yourself and evolve as a thought leader and build a legacy equivalent to the person that has been your inspiration, your idol, your person that has inspired you to become everything that you are today. Okay, so quickly now, once you know what needs to be done, take the next 2 minutes flat, okay, 30 seconds per question, and list down these 4 questions for yourself. And I welcome you all to share your responses in the chat box, which I'm scanning right now. And after this webinar is over, okay, I want you to do this exercise with at least 5 people and compare your notes. And you will be amazed at seeing the parity or disparity that emerges out of it, which is going to be a warning bell for you to make you realize, are you doing justice to your brand, or there is a long way to go for you to build your brand because people just don't see you the way you see yourself, right? So yes, exactly like what Premnath has shared with everyone in the chat, I want you all to share your animal, your car, bike, your movie, and the person that has inspired you. And you somewhere believe deep in your heart that you have the potential to build your brand in the mirror image and create an impact that that person has created. Okay, so 2 minutes on the clock. Fantastic. Thank you, Sunil, for sharing. Thank you, Narendra. Thank you, Janani. Amazing to see all your responses trickling in. Thank you, Abhijit. You've just given us the animal. What about the other 3 quadrants? Quick. Thank you, Sajimol. Debelina, thank you. Okay, dog, jeep, Piku, Indira Noi. Fantastic. Hey, Sadiq, thank you for sharing. Tejas, elephant, Maruti, Kabhi, Kabhi. Oh, okay, sorry. SRK, I'm assuming, Tejas, it's not SKR, right? Do correct me if I'm wrong. Sankar, Lion, BMW, Spider-Man, Inspire. Sorry, kahan gaya? I lost that. It's so many people are writing and so many responses are coming in that I lost that. Okay, thank you, Sudhakar, for sharing. Hey, Tanuka, thank you for sharing. Sushil says horse, Mercedes, Ben-Hur, and Tony Robbins. Fantastic. Thank you, Sushil. Shaker says elephant, BMW, Avenger, Modi. Awesome. So I think most of you are done with this amazing exercise now, right? Tell me quickly, how did this exercise make you feel in the last 2 minutes? Did you get an amazing new perspective about how people perceive brands, how people could possibly perceiving you? And this will literally blow your mind once you really do an outside-in approach. Because right now, this was introspection, right? When you do extrospection and ask people, that's when you'll truly be amazed at what kind of responses start coming in, and you get so much more clarity about how your personal brand is perceived by people. Awesome. Let's move on. There's lots more to do today. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing this exercise with me. It was amazing to see all you guys responding in the chat box. Please let your responses keep trickling in. I promise I will read all of them after this webinar is over. Okay? Next. What do you think? Was this fun? Right? Please tell me in the chat box. Yes, I enjoyed. Okay? And this is where I would need you to just take next 5 seconds and tell me what you're thinking right now. Did you enjoy this exercise? Because this was a very informal way of helping you understand how to find your personal brand reputation, right? But imagine if you could get your hands onto a tool which is designed especially to help you do this, and in turn generate like a 50-page report and help you understand about your personal brand identity, reputation, perception by doing an audit in your community. How powerful would that be in your personal branding journey? So tell me quickly as I open up this poll for you all, would you like to discover your personal brand reputation by using a special tool that we use for that purpose? If yes, please select yes. And if it's no, I understand that you're probably not that interested in your personal brand reputation and you're happy the way you are. So can we have the poll up there, please? Okay, fantastic. I think everyone has unanimously said, because I've got like 100% response straight away, which is brilliant. And I don't think it's ever happened before. But thank you so much. That gives us a lot of clarity and encouragement that people are super focused on their personal brand reputation. And rightly, you should be, because it takes years and years and years and decades, right, to build your reputation. And imagine you've spent that much of time in building it, but you have no idea what that is. What a tragedy, right? So everyone who said yes, I'm going to share something very exciting with you after this webinar, not right now, but trust me, you're in for a treat. But for now, moving on, the next topic, which I promised to you, is once you know that, okay, I have to think like this when I'm thinking about my personal brand. I have to first of all take complete stock of what my brand is today, so I can then build upon it. The next step is for you to understand how to communicate your personal brand to the world. And we have something called the Brand You Manifesto formula to help you do that. Okay, this is absolutely powerful and it's going to blow your mind. So listen to this. You have to focus on what 3 words you want people to talk about you. Okay, so any 3 words that you choose for your brand expression are most likely going to be the words that people will choose to describe your personal brand to the others that they talk to. Okay, so what 3 words is one hashtag I want you to imprint onto your mind today, and everything you do in your life tomorrow from a brand perspective, focus on this. What 3 words celebrate your brand? The first word is going to help you understand how do you communicate the work you're doing today. What action are you doing today will be your first word. Second word, what audience are you serving? Who benefits from that action, right? And finally, the third word should focus around your audacious brand promise. What are you bringing on the table unlike anybody else? What magic are you doing with the action and for the audience? So you see how it fits together? If not, I'm going to get you more visual clarity. So the formula to create your personal brand statement is, ta-da! It's your action promised plus your audience served plus the audacious impact equals to your unique, signature, powerful personal brand statement, right? And before talking about elements, I'm going to talk about a few examples of it to get clarity on how a personal brand statement should look. Okay. Now, I will tell you an example of the statement, and you will write in the chat box what kind of a person or whose brand statement actually it really is, because the moment I talk about the brand statement, I think you will figure it out whose brand statement it is. So, are you ready? Okay. Example number 1. So, my personal brand statement is designing awe-inspiring communication technology for the futurist human. Whose personal brand statement do you think this possibly could be? Tell me quickly. Who do you think would have a personal brand statement like this? That I design awe-inspiring communication technology for the futurist human. And this person actually was like existing, right? It's not a hypothetical example. Yes, Raja Salman, you nailed it. It is my attempt to create the personal brand statement of none other than the late Steve Jobs. Okay, let's talk about the second example. Let's see how many of you will get this one right. I make global leadership wisdom accessible to ambitious leaders. Whose personal brand statement do you think this possibly could be? Any guesses? And you do know the person. Let me just put it that way. You do know the person. Nitin, Mukesh Ambani ne kya kiya hai? What has he done for helping people get global, leadership wisdom accessible? No, Kuntal, it's not mine. No, Steve Jobs has done. That was the first one. No Tatas, no Tony Robbins. Okay, so this is the personal brand statement from my perspective of none other than Gautam Ganglani. His focus is to make global leadership wisdom accessible to ambitious leaders like you. So 3 cheers for Gautam Ganglani for being in the Hall of Fame of amazing thought leaders that we are talking about today. Hey Gautam, 3 cheers to you. Okay, and finally, the last example is something like this. Helping visionary thought leaders build impactful legacies that outlive them. Whose personal brand statement this could possibly be? Any guesses over here? Okay, I'm going to give it to you. This might be a little tricky because not a lot of you all know me, but this is my personal brand statement, right? So this is what I truly believe I do. I embody, I promise, and I deliver. More importantly, right? I help visionary thought leaders, aspirational thought leaders like you, build impactful legacy. Okay, so did you get some interesting sneak peek into what a personal brand statement could possibly look like? And what are the elements that you saw in this that you can now incorporate into your own personal brand statement, right? You saw there's passion. You saw there's value that they bring on the table. You saw there's a larger purpose that drives them. You saw there's a vision that they are pursuing to build, create, disrupt, change, transform. You saw that they are employing their strengths and skills and passions to make that change happen. And you see there is an underlying thought leadership everywhere, right? Every example, there is this one unique thought leadership that they can envision, they can do, and they do as their brand promise, right? So, are you ready to build your personal brand statement using this formula? Action promised plus audience served plus audacious impact come together to create your powerful personal brand statement. How about that? Okay, now I'm going to take it one step further and give you 5 questions which I want you to list down to start creating your personal brand statement using this formula. Because while it's great to understand these elements, that these have to go into my personal brand statement, but these questions I'm going to share with you today will actually help you arrive at those elements of your personal brand statement and then synthesize it together in creating your action, audience, and impact. So, what questions will you ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, what do you love doing? What problem are you solving doing what you love doing? By solving that problem, whom are you adding direct or indirect value to? And if you're doing whatever it is doing in your industry, what are you doing differently? Mark my words, what are you doing differently, unlike anybody else, that makes you stand out? And finally, what is it that you've created that is so unique to you that it is absolutely inimitable and people cannot say no to you? It is absolutely irresistible, right? And that is going to be the hallmark of your personal brand statement. When you combine the elements, the insights you get from yourself on all these questions, you can craft your what 3 words: action, audience, and impact, and construct your powerful, unique, and compelling personal brand statement, or your elevator pitch, whatever you call it. It means one and the same thing. So, was this powerful? Say yes, can't wait to craft my own statement in the chat box, and let me know that you're going to give it a shot. Of course, you don't have to give it a shot right now, okay? But just say yes, powerful, and we'll craft in the chat box to let me know how you think about it. And more importantly, now, when you go back after this webinar and you craft your personal brand statement, right? I want you to look me up on LinkedIn and share it with me. And I promise you, every single person who posts it on LinkedIn, refers to this webinar, and tags me, I will personally give you my feedback and enhance your personal brand statement. How's that for a deal? All you have to do is go back, craft your statement using this formula, and post it on LinkedIn, tagging me, and you will get a Tanvi personalized personal brand statement feedback back for you. Okay, is that a deal? Can I say deal, please, if you guys are on board for this? How many of y'all are on board for this deal? Say deal, Tanvi. Do we have a deal, guys? Deal, yes, Tanuka, thank you. Manish, thank you. Everyone who's promising deal, you have to follow up, okay? I'm going to have a copy of this chat and I'm going to haunt you until you follow up. No, just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But please do. It would be awesome, right? To do this and get my feedback on your personal brand statements. Fantastic. Moving on. Finally, we are arriving at the 11-step blueprint to build your brand as a thought leader. Tell me, before I start this, how has been the webinar so far? Exciting, enriching? Did you learn a lot of new things? Did you really open up your perspective about personal branding and start thinking differently than what you were doing before actually 4 p.m. today? Say yes, it's definitely new thought. Please tell me in the chat box if this is a new perspective that I've helped you develop when you talk about your personal branding. Meanwhile, I am going to kickstart on the 11 steps that you have to do religiously to start building your personal brand as a thought leader. Step number 1, introspection. We already saw the power introspection has, right, in the last 5-10 minutes. Imagine if you get into a more serious introspection, soul-searching exercise to uncover your deepest values, passions, purpose, vision. How will that help you in A, choosing the right career or industry that resonates with your values and passions? B, creating something brand new that is unique to you and your thought leadership to fulfill your purpose and vision in your life. Introspection, my friend, is the step 1 and the most important step to start thinking like a thought leader, right? Because a lot of us don't even think on those lines that what do I really love to do? What are my values? What I want to build in my life? Why I want to build that in my life and the works of it. But if you do this, believe you me, half the battle is won because you have absolute clarity for the next 5 years of your life. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you an example with every step to make it more crystal clear in your life on why these people have done these steps at the right stages in their lives and what kind of brands and legacies they have built. So think about somebody like Deepak Chopra, right? You know, he was a doctor and now he's built his brand as a leader in holistic healing and spirituality. If he would not have done the right introspection at the right time in his life, do you think he would have been able to pivot industries and do something entirely different in his life? No. That's the power of introspection, my friend. And doing it at the right stage in your life is sacrosanct. Step number 2. Once you've done that introspection and you have absolute clarity about the what's and the whys and where you want to go to, it's extremely important to do extrospection. And now, when I say extrospection, I'm talking about a strategic competitive analysis to understand what kind of a landscape we are operating in. Because let's face it, people, professionals, brands are not built in silo. You are up against a competitive landscape and you need to outgrow your competition. You need to outlove your competition and you need to ensure that the value you're bringing on the table is differentiated. The proposition you're making, the voice that you're creating for your personal brand is absolutely different, unique. You've identified a niche that a competition has failed to address and you are catering to that niche. I'm going to be a very interesting example to help you understand this further. How many of you all have heard of this gentleman called Dr. Radha Krishna Pillai, right? Say, yes, I know him in the chat box if you know who Radha is, right? So Dr. Pillai is known as a Chanakya of modern India, okay? And is he the first one doing work in this industry? Absolutely not. There have been so many other scholars of Arthashastra who've written books on Chanakya. But why is Dr. Pillai known as a Chanakya of India today? Because he did his extrospection. He understood what other scholars have done and more importantly, what they're not doing to create a brand strategy for himself and take the knowledge and learnings of Chanakya Arthashastra and apply it to the target audience not being served, which in his case was A, the corporate India, and B, the youth of India. Okay, so that's what extrospection can do for you to get you clarity about how you want to build your personal brand strategy by identifying the best possible opportunities in your ecosystem. Next up, we have step number 3, think like a thought leader. You have to do that, right? How will you begin your journey of being a thought leader? But you know what thought leaders don't do? They don't focus on inside out. They focus on outside in. When you're asking them, what are you going to do 3 years down the line? They will not tell you, I'm good at this, I'm going to do this. They will rather contemplate and they will think, what is it that the world is going to need 3 years down the line to be healthy or happy or successful? And being who I am, what can I do to contribute to that, right? Think about the example of Robin Sharma over here. He was always known and celebrated as a leadership guru, right? But he started thinking like a thought leader as well. And he added on more value proposition because he had the foresight and vision that leaders don't only need leadership development and orientation, they also need personal mastery. So he started just, not focusing on leadership, but he became a thought leader himself and realized what is it that I can do based on my passions, my knowledge, my experience, and add more value to my tribe and enrich them, helping them conquer the milestones that they have set for their life. So that's what you have to do. Think like a thought leader. What can I do different, better, new that nobody else is thinking or doing in my industry? And why I'm the only person who can think and do that like anybody else. Step number 4. This is so powerful, okay? Create your brand universe. Remember, it is important to have a strategy to extend your brand, right? The first thing you will do as a thought leader is, in the previous step, identify this hook that you want to create what I call your thought leadership capital or intellectual property. And then in this strategy, you have to figure out, how am I going to take that one idea, repurpose it, and expand it across different target audiences. Okay, create a complete universe around it where all I can use is idea, school of thought, philosophy, value proposition, new way of thinking, and help as many different communities of people I possibly can. That becomes your brand universe. Think about what amazing work this guy called Tim Ferriss has done and building his brand universe. You must be knowing him as the author of the 4-Hour Workweek. Fantastic book, right? What he did, he took his thought leadership around the 4-hour thing and created a complete universe around it. He made the 4-Hour Workweek, he made the 4-Hour Chef, and he also made the 4-Hour Body, right? What you have to do is you have to claim your niche. You have to dominate your niche unlike anybody else so that nobody can think of even touching the topic that you've so beautifully personified. It becomes an extension of you, not just a personal brand. Okay, that is what I mean by creating a complete brand universe around everything that you are doing. Step number 5. Once you've done that, you also need to define and own your brand's intellectual property, because trust me, how do I say it? There is no dearth of identity stealers, idea stealers, or copycats in the world. How many of y'all, tell me honestly, how many of y'all have had your big fat idea stolen or copied at some point of time in your life? Tell me. Has it ever happened to you? In a chat box, tell me right now. Yes, I have been a victim. Tell me, how did it feel when somebody stole your big idea and passed it on as their own? Because obviously you didn't have a copyright for it, correct? How does it make you feel? It's happened to the best of us. It's happened to me as well. And while, I may sometimes ignore it, saying, oh, imitation is the best form of flattery, but hello, it's my idea, it's my hard work. Why should you get all the glory for that? Correct? Excuse me. Why would you give it up? So defining your brand IP is all about taking absolute ownership of your personal brand's intellectual property, your thought leadership, and legally owning it. Do your trademarks and copyrights, because let's face it, once you've test driven your concept, once you've identified that, okay, this idea works, I'm getting traction, people are liking it, they're resonating it, you need to ensure that people will not even dream of touching your idea, your baby. Okay, how would you feel as a mother about your baby, or as a father about your baby, right? Think about it as your idea is your baby, and protect it by all means, and ensure that you are using it in every possible way, in every possible conversation, because you have to be the brand ambassador of your intellectual property. It resonates with people when you start using that idea and philosophy in many conversations, in many contexts, so they understand the importance and the application of it in their life. Now, one woman who does this beautifully is known as Mel Robbins. If you don't know her, you have to look her up. She's created her brand around the philosophy of the 5-second rule. Okay, she talks about strategies of not procrastinating, okay, using the 5-second rule. Now tell me, is she the first person to talk about how not to procrastinate? Absolutely not. But why has she become this global phenomena today? Because she created an intellectual property under the umbrella of the 5-second rule, built a brand around it, built a business around it, and then she beautifully infuses that brand philosophy in almost as many conversations as she can to help you understand how her philosophy, okay, her thought leadership can help you achieve your goals of not procrastinating, right? So that's what I meant by defining and owning your brand's intellectual property, literally and legally, more importantly, mark my words, okay? Step number 6 is define your target audience. I cannot lay enough emphasis on this, because let's face it, and answer this question for me, please, in the chat box. Do you believe you are valuable to the whole world? How many of you all say, yes, I'm valuable to the whole world? Or how many of you say, no, I'm not valuable to the whole world? Just write yes or no, so I get a perspective of what your thought process is about this. How many of you say, yes, I am valuable to the whole world? And how many of you say, no, I'm not valuable to the whole world? Thank God for that. How many have yes and no? No. Okay, great. So I have a lot of no's. Bang on. You're absolutely not valuable to the whole world, right? Because you're valuable to people who resonate with your ideas and philosophies. And that's the way, my friend, it should be. You cannot be everything to everybody. You have to mean the world to those selective few. And who are those selective few? Who is your target audience? Your target audience is those people who are possibly tracing a journey similar to yours that you were undergoing, say, 3 or 5 years before today, right? And how do you identify your jackpot target audience? Ask yourself, where was I 3 years from today? What was I doing? What were my challenges? What was my pain points? How did I overcome those? Right? So the secret to identifying your target audience, which nobody tells you, is actually to ask yourself, what did I need 3 years ago that I was able to either learn, create, or absorb from my ecosystem, and I can today pass it on as my paid forward to people who are possibly tracing a similar journey. That is your target audience. People you can add exclusive value to because you've been there, you've done that, right? And you know what, your target audience also doesn't necessarily have to be from your profession. It could be something completely disjoint which is very passion centric for you, and I'll give you an example to prove this. How many of you all know a lady called Sheryl Sandberg? She is the COO of Facebook, right? And she came out with this fantastic book called Lean In. What did this book do? It was a woman empowerment movement, actually, which helped women to understand the power of leaning in and being heard and being visible above any other person in the room, right? Now, as the profession that she is into, her target audience, if you argue with me, could possibly be startup founders or the tech industry or anyone in that media industry. But she chose her target audience to speak to as women leaders, women entrepreneurs, women executives who are struggling at times to be heard, to be felt relevant, to be felt that they matter, right? Because she experienced those things in her life herself at some point of the time. That is the magic of understanding a target audience and doing something that will resonate with the pulse of your target audience. Okay, so ask yourself that and select your target audience. Next up, we have building your network blueprint. I'm going to talk about the frog in the well analogy over here. We are so happy being our own small, ponds, lakes, wells, whatever you call it, that we don't think beyond that. And when we do think beyond that, we are thinking about who do I need who can help me achieve my next goal, right? That is our definition of building a network. But trust me, that is an old way. When you're talking about building your personal brand as a thought leader, you have to shift your thinking. Your perspective also has to shift in thinking that, of course, I need people who will add value to me, but whom can I add value to? So I'm going to share the 3-degree strategy to help you build your network blueprint. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter who you know, right? Your brand equity is going to be the net effect of who knows you, right? Tell me if this was powerful for you. Your brand equity is going to be the net effect of who knows you and your personal brand. And that is why this is extremely important. You have to expand your visibility across 3 degrees of network. So the 3-degree strategy is as follows. First degree is the people you know personally, right? They're just one phone call away. Second degree of people are those people which your first degree of connections, your close inner circle know. And you can always reach out to them 2 phone calls away. Okay. And your third degree of people are perhaps the most important people that you could possibly get connected to, because these people are just 3 phone calls away. But these are the people who are known as the movers and makers of the industry, right? And this is the community you want to be visible in. This is the community you have to reach out to. So my tip for you is that create a weekly network expansion blueprint. Identify your goals that I'm going to become visible to n number of more people across these 3 degrees every week. Whatever it is, depending on your goals, your industry, you choose how many people you want to include in your first degree. How many new people is what I mean, right? Obviously, how many new people you want to tap into from your second degree, and how many new people you want to tap into from your third degree of connections. Because this, when done over a period of time, strategically, locally, regionally, globally, is going to help you catapult your personal brand visibility and footprint across the world. As a thought leader, you are on your journey to become. Step number 8 is design your content strategy. Content is the king today, and your brand is only as good as your content. Let's face it, right? Your brand is your thought leadership, and not having thought leadership rich content is a deal breaker. So, context is everything when it comes to content. You have to ask yourself, who is my target audience? You have to ask yourself, where do they visit and consume content? You have to ask yourself, how do I add value to them that I stand out and I'm not lost in the digital ocean of information and noise? And fourth, you have to ask yourself, what original thought leadership content am I going to create incrementally every single day or every single week to become visible and valuable contextually to my target audience on these chosen platforms day after day, so that they not only become hooked to my content, but they fall in love with me and my personal brand as well. Now, somebody who does this brilliantly, okay, is Gary V, or Gary Vaynerchuk, in case you don't know him. He has mastered content strategy across every platform that is relevant in today's context and relevant for his business as well. And it's sometimes not relevant to his business, but relevant to his personal brand. Okay, he's mastered the art of creating content strategy, recycling content, repurposing content, so you are not actually lost in the maze of creating new content every day. So, three secrets you have to learn from somebody like Gary Vee is: how do you create original contextual content for your target audience? How do you recycle and repurpose that content? And the most important thing, how do you figure out a way to infuse your authentic voice and your signature style of expression to your target audience? Because these three things, when they come together, is what helps you build that unique, beloved thought leader brand in the industry. And I cannot emphasize enough that you have to do all these 8 steps to the T before you even are ready to launch your brand. Because only when you've got absolute clarity about these things, you've got your strategies in place, you are ready to create your brand assets. When I say brand assets, these could be your websites, your social media profile reinventions, your podcasts, your video blogs, your book, etc., right? You have to create this entire ecosystem based on where you are in your life and what is your reinvention strategy to launch your brand or relaunch your brand to the world. And one person I personally think has done this beautifully, and I've seen it up close, is again none other than Mr. Gautam Ganglani. He has beautifully reinvented and relaunched his brand from being an entrepreneur, a global entrepreneur, to an author and a thought leader by publishing his book, Breaking Bread. If you go back and see his journey of growth of entrepreneurship and his pivot and reinvention of his personal brand as an author, you will see how beautifully he's brought together different aspects of branding, thought leadership, content creation, brand assets like website, podcast, webinar series to have reinvented and launched his brand to the world. Okay, so please do a good study on Gautam's entire brand strategy. You'll know what I'm talking about. Step number 10 is build your speaker brand. Wow. So, professional speakers speak for a living, right? Now, it doesn't matter if that's where you are today or if that's where you need to be. There are a couple of sacrosanct rules that you have to follow as a speaker or a person who wants to be a brand as a speaker. Is craft a rock star speech. I cannot emphasize enough on this. That don't just think that I know my subject matter, I will go and wing it. No, you will prepare your speech, you will rehearse it, you will master it, you will perfect it before going and delivering it, because your speech is your product. Okay, don't think that I know how to speak. What's there? You just have to go on the stage and speak whatever content you want to share. You have to create a complete intellectual property around your speech. You have to have signature topics around your speaker brand that you can offer to your prospective clients and audiences, because there are people who actually can, when they do this entire strategy right, build an empire around speaking as a business for your personal brand and thought leadership footprint. And one great example that comes to my mind, and you should look him up if you don't know him, is a gentleman called Frederick Harren. He's built a fantastic speaking business, career, and empire as a professional speaker. And that's the only thing he does. He speaks professionally across the world. physically and now virtually, of course. And he writes books. And his books get him more speaking business, and his speaking business sells more books. Brilliant, simple strategy. And that's what you should be focused on. Creating a strategy that works for you to position you as a thought leader by crafting stellar speeches, by knowing how do you present stellar speeches. Because let's face it, nobody wants to listen to a boring speaker, even if your content is extraordinary. How many times you, tell me, in your personal case, have lost interest in the speaker because he was so boring? Say, yes, I have, in the chat box. I'm looking right now. How many of y'all have absolutely lost interest in the topic because the speaker was dead boring and you were dozing off? How many of y'all? Tell me quickly. Yes, it has happened to all of us. We've been the victims of really bad speeches and deliveries. That is why I'm recommending to you, you don't do that. Okay, before you become a professional speaker, master the art of speaking like professional speakers. And finally, step number 11. Wow, we sailed through all 10 steps in the last 30 minutes. Amazing. Step number 11. And a lot of people, wonder that why have I put such an important step at the extreme end? I'll tell you my perspective. It is important to be an author, to be a thought leader, but it is more important to have visibility, tribe, and the trust of your tribe before you become an author. Because let's face it, do you want to become an author just because you want to call yourself an author? What is your purpose of becoming an author, if at all you are inspired to become one? Tell me in the chat box. Why do you want to become an author? What is your motivation? For me, the motivation would be to become an author because I want to share what I know with as many people as possible. It's not because I want to call myself an author. I can publish an ebook today or a self-published book and become an author. But if you want to become a global New York Times or a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, you have to play the game right. You have to do all the things that I told you up till now. You have to build that visibility, footprint, tribe who is literally, as you say, eating out of your hands every single day, and then give them the book, literally, to eat out of your hands. Okay, just kidding. But that is the strategy which I am going to adopt in my career. I am recommending that. But having said that, there are people who do things differently as well. For this, I'm going to give you an example of somebody which I'm sure all of you would have heard of, Devdutt Patnaik, the great Indian thought leader on infusing mythology, leadership, and management lessons for the Indian Corporate Inc. What did he do? While he was employed in the corporate, he started writing these amazing books because he was following his passion, right? And he did that religiously for at least last 15 years is what I think he's been at it, to have built that kind of visibility, credibility, fan following to today move out of the corporate role and become a full-time author and a consultant. So there's no one size fits all, but I gave you my recommendation that I think makes absolute sense, especially if you are a first-time author like me or somebody else. That's a strategy that you should adopt to build visibility, create value, build a tribe, earn their trust, guarantee their love for anything that you now present them with. So, how was this journey? Did you enjoy these 11 steps that I just shared with you that you have to start doing religiously, strategically today onwards to start building your personal brand as a thought leader? I'm going to take a break over here and look into the chat box. Tell me, did you enjoy this? Did you really enjoy this session? And if yes, I'm going to put up a poll, right? To understand, was this session really valuable to you all? Did you take away a lot of new learnings and insights? Come on, tell me, what do you think? What's on your mind? How much did you enjoy the session? Did you find this webinar valuable and enriching? Both. And of course, feel free after you have voted to share with me in the chat box, did you enjoy the session? I know we are a little overboard, but we are far from done. So hang on, there's a lot more surprises coming your way. And give me another 10 minutes of your time because we still have some Q&A also to do with y'all for whoever is ready to learn from me one-on-one right now and answer your questions? Everyone has voted. Say yes, I'm done with my vote, and tell me, did you all find this webinar really interesting? Right? Fantastic. So I'm so happy that you guys have stayed with me all the time, all the 11 steps actually, because it was quite a journey. And thank you for sharing your inputs. Now tell me, are you ready to build your personal brand? And if yes, I have two options for you. Option number one is start passive learning, obviously. Like promised earlier, I'm going to share my ebook with you all, which will help you start thinking like a thought leader. And then you embark upon a do it yourself journey as you receive support from me on a weekly basis in forms of my newsletters, emails, etc. And you'll find the link in the chat box to go and download my book immediately, right? This is your option of passive learning if you're ready to start taking small, steady steps onto your journey of personal branding. But now, here's where the surprise is. If you are truly ready to do something extraordinary for your life, your career, and your personal brand with me as a part of your journey, I have created this amazing virtual life workshop for ambitious leaders like you all, which begins on the coming Monday. Yes, we're going to be having 3 workshops spread across the next whole week, and every workshop is going to be 2 hours of live one-on-one learning with me. Imagine how powerful will that be, right? If you really enjoyed today's session, imagine what kind of engagement, learning, insights, activities we will be able to do together when we get down to business, literally. So, this is what I have to share with you all. We are launching the Ultimate Personal Branding Workshop. Sounds fancy, isn't it? For you all, it's going to be a 1-week-long virtual learning session with me, limited to only 25 people because I want it to be interactive, engaging, and value-driven for all those 25 people. Okay? So don't snooze or else you're going to lose, probably in this case at least. I want you to be very focused right now. Ask yourself, are you ready to take the first step to build your personal brand as a thought leader in your industry? If yes, are you ready to invest your time with me for a one-on-one coaching experience over the next week? Because at the end of the next week, I am going to have you prepped and primed to start building your brand with a blueprint that we will create together, right? So this is what you learn across the next week. Day 1, we discover your brand VPs, brand strengths, USPs, etc. Day 2, we discover the extrospection. What is it that you need to do from an outside-in perspective? I give you a sneak peek of it today to make competition irrelevant, to build your personal brand with a competitive edge. Day 3, we will then focus on how do you think like a thought leader. I'll walk you through the exercises, activities, research, brainstorming, facilitation. It's going to be a powerful, engagement-driven, interactive learning experience for a group of 25 people with me. Okay, so if you're now asking, how do you enroll for something like this? Because let's face it, you're sold, right? You know you have to do this. Because if you are not going to do it for yourself, trust me, your competition is possibly doing this for themselves. So, like I said, you snooze, you lose. You decide, are you ready to take the leap of faith and build your brand as a thought leader? Or are you happy being just another leader in the herd? And if you are ready to join me on this amazing journey of thought leadership and personal branding, this is what I have to offer to you today. Usually, when we run a workshop like this, which is a 6-hour-long workshop, if you do it, it costs you anywhere around 25,000 plus taxes. But because you guys are a part of our Right Selection Tribe today, for today, I invite you to make the most of this amazing opportunity and invest in yourself at only 20,000 rupees, right? For a week-long personal branding journey with me. But 2, invite you to take prompt action. I am going to offer you something even more powerful. And for the first 10 people who take decision and are committing to changing their life and joining me on this journey, we are offering additional flat 50% off on the workshop fees and giving you the entire learning experience at a total investment of only 10,000. That's it. So, are you ready to do this? If yes, tell me in the chat box. Yes, if you have questions, tell me what can I help you with. Bhavna has already shared the link with you all in the chat box to sign up for the workshop. And that's about it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this point of time, and wait for you to, try finishing your registration, come back and tell us that, yes, I have signed up. So we can say 3 cheers to all of y'all who are joining me on this journey next week. It's going to be epic, is what I can promise you. Tanuka, Surya, Sudhakar, Vilas, awesome to see all of y'all are excited about this. I'm excited about this because this is going to be so much fun and something completely exciting for you all to experience firsthand. Because trust me, no matter what learning interventions you've done in your corporates, you've not done anything like it ever, right? That much I can promise you right now. But let me take one step further. And for all you people who are still wondering, is this right for me? Right? It is an investment for sure. I want to make it an absolute no-brainer for you. Because if you are willing to invest today in your personal brand journey, I honor and I respect that decision of yours because I invested in my journey once upon a time and I know how powerful it was for me, right? So, as a token of my gratitude and to even empower you further in building your personal brand with me after the workshop is over, these are the bonuses that I've designed for you. What do you get over and above the whole live workshop? I'm going to help you understand how do you completely reinvent your LinkedIn personal brand quotient. I'm going to help you give, with a checklist of what you have to do to build your brand on LinkedIn, the best practices, the do's, don'ts, the strategies that work. I'm going to give you a marketing automation tool sheet full of amazing tools which will help you take absolute control of your personal brand by doing more of branding and less of work every single day. And I'm going to share my own strategy list with you that I use with all these amazing leaders of Fortune 500 companies and entrepreneurs that I help in building their personal brand. This is my social media blueprint strategy to build your brand on social media. Okay. And finally, this perhaps honestly is the most exciting bonus of it all, if I have to put it that way. I'm going to teach you how do you build mastery in any subject, right? Because let's face it, building personal brand is powerful, but unless you have established mastery in your subject matter, do you think your personal brand will have that power, that flair, that authorityship that it should have? Okay, and I'm going to be very honest with you. This topic, how to build mastery in any subject, is actually a brand new online course that I have created, and I'm going to be, selling later on, but not right now. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek into that as a part of this entire bonus bouquet that I've curated for you all. And as you can see on the screen, all in all, you can see the total worth of all these packages. If you were to work with me one-on-one, perhaps would be anywhere around close to 60,000 bucks. But today, especially if you are going to be one of those first 10 people who join us on this amazing journey, you get the whole deal for a super sweet price point and investment of only 10,000 rupees. The value of which is 25,000 bucks worth of the workshop experience plus over 60,000 bucks of bonuses that we've done only and only for you all, which are valid only and only if you sign up today. That's about it. So the whole deal, oh my God, is worth around 85,000 bucks, and that's it. That's what you get for the return of investment of only 10,000 bucks. So, is that a yes or is that a yes? Like Gautam would say, right? Tell me now, how excited are you to begin this journey with me? And I am going back to the check box and checking how many of y'all are already done with your enrollment, or how many of y'all are having any challenges and my team can possibly help you out with. Yes, Gautam, thank you for joining me again. And I'm ready to talk to people if they have any questions for me or if they have any questions about this new workshop that we just launched for them.
Great. Thank you very much, Tanvi. I personally really enjoyed the present. Thank you for your acknowledgements of my brand portal. That was a pleasant surprise. But thank you for that. It's been a wonderful experience being coached by you earlier this year and doing my own self audit, and then obviously getting the audit done from many of our clients, etc. I just looked at the chat box. There are various comments. I just want to share with everyone that Tanvi's ebook, the link has been shared. If by chance you missed that link, it will be shared in an email tomorrow.
Yes.
You can connect with Tanvi and myself on LinkedIn. It'd be great to be connected with each one of you. There's also a post, LinkedIn post, which Bhavna has shared in the chat box. Do share your feedback. Many of you have shared your great appreciation of the session, but if you can click on the link and share that on the LinkedIn post, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. The certificate, I have shared the certificate downloaded on the attachment. It still says sharing for some reason. If by chance you do not receive it or it's not downloading as we speak, then we will share it with you by email tomorrow. It will be an email that you can print. It's a digital certificate. You can print that yourself in the comfort of your own home or save it as a PDF on your laptops. So that has been shared on the chat. It shows as sharing, but in case it doesn't receive, don't worry. Along with the video recording of the session today. So the video recording, the certificate, and the ebook will be shared in an email tomorrow. So I think the masterclass, we've had people register for that using the link. In case you have any questions that you may have for Tanvi, feel free to type that in the chat box.
Meanwhile, Bhavna, may I request you, there's some people still asking in the chat box that what link do we use to enroll? If you can just give the link, because I think people are getting confused because the link says, register for the next webinar and stuff like that. Just give the link to enroll for this workshop. That's it. Just the link, nothing else, dear, please.
Yeah. So we see that actually there's actually 8 people who registered already, Tanvi. So I think there's 2 more available seats. Whoever would like to click register on that, that'll be great. And we look forward to having that exclusive workshop and masterclass. I mean, 3 sessions over the next coming week. You want to repeat those dates? I think you got 3 dates next week, right? It's 2 hours.
Monday onwards. I think it's the 8th. Yes, 8th of June. The timings for this are going to be 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's going to be a Zoom call. So it's going to be very intimate, all of us doing this live interaction together. And it's going to be happening on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Excellent.
And you get all the bonuses after you complete the entire workshop. All right. So don't expect it to come to you before you've committed to the entire journey with me, because only then you'll be able to see the magic of everything that you've learned with me.
Right. Great. I think, Nitin, we will send you it via email. If you're not engaged with that one, we'll send that to you. But any other questions?
You might miss the boat. If you wait for an email, you might miss the boat of being the top 10 people who get that super awesome deal of flat.
The link has been shared there by Rinkesh. So any other questions that we have that you'd like to ask of Tanvi before we wrap up for today?
So I think there was a question from Deblina Roy. She wanted to know, how do we come to know the outcome of personal brand reputation? So Deblina, this is what I want you to do now. You've done the exercise for yourself, right, dear? Do the same exercise with 5 people in your community, anyone. Ideally, take different categories of people so you get different kinds of inputs and insights from them, but do it, okay? Ask those people those 4 questions and tell them that they also have to be honest and give you a reason why they think like that, okay? Once you get those responses from them, collate your own responses with theirs and see what kind of parities and disparities are there. When I say parities and disparities, means similarities and dissimilarities. This is what will help you understand that everything that you do in a day-to-day life, work, play, etc., is it yielding you the desired impact? Are people able to see the best of you? Because if your responses and the others' responses which have come in do not match to a degree of over at least 75% of similarity, we have a problem, right? We want people to know the best of us. And if we are not able to portray that, if you're not able to behave in ways or do the things which are doing justice to our talents, our genius, our potential, we're definitely losing out on opportunities, right? So you then need to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Okay, where can I correct myself in those mistakes and ensure I do the right things? Because if I'm seeing my personal brand in this light, I need to start doing things which will help people to see me in this light as well. What do I start doing in terms of attitudinal shifts, behavioral shifts every single day to go from point A to point B in my reputation journey that I want to build? I hope that helps.
Great, thank you. I think one more was about, yeah, there are some good leaders who are introverts.
Mhm.
And what's your take on the thought leadership for introverts?
Who has asked this question? Tell me that first.
This is from Jitesh Gautam. What's your
Okay.
take on the thought leadership journey and the journey to become a brand, one if you've accepted that you're an introvert? Yeah. Go ahead.
Jide, fantastic question. I'll tell you why. People do not believe it, but I am an introvert. Okay. So I've got this classic problem of being an introvert, being an extremely private person, and being a perfectionist. It's like triple whammy for me. Imagine how I survive. But it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. What matters is how strongly you feel passionate about whatever it is that you've decided to do in your life, or whatever it is that you want to build in your life for personal satisfaction and as well as for the service of the world that we live in. Okay. So I personally think that apart from every other leadership concept, style, or strategy out there, thought leadership driven personal branding is perhaps the most powerful of it all. And I'll tell you why, right? Because here you get to do what you love to do, add value to others, and build your personal brand as a thought leader as a direct byproduct of that. Okay. What could be more fulfilling than doing that? That I get to play by my own rules. I design my rules, I design my strategy, and I ensure that the world plays by my rules because that's what you want to do as an introvert, correct? So that's the way I have lived my life. I play by my rules, and that's what I encourage people to do. When you say you have to become a creator as a thought leader, you are designing your rules, you are designing a life blueprint as a way of your personal branding blueprint to then go and live the life and career of your dreams without being at the mercy of the world. So, yeah, that's my take on this. I hope that helps.
Great. Thank you, Tanvi. I think we will review if there are any additional questions, but everything will be sent in an email tomorrow. I repeat, in terms of the certificate, the video, the ebook link will all be shared in an email tomorrow. Anything you would like to share, Tanvi, before we wrap up?
Yes, I'm just seeing one or two more questions before I wrap up. Would love to answer those. Sesha says, should a personal brand be connected with a professional work, job, or title? Sesha, none of it. Okay. Go back to the brand you manifesto. What three words? Did you see your professional work, job, or title anywhere in your what three words? Of course not, right? Because that is, how do you put it? That is ephemeral. It's there today, gone tomorrow. Your personal brand will outlive your corporate stint. Remember that. And this is something that I've gone back and told so many leaders that I've worked with. Who are you? If I strip out the company and the title, that you're so proud of? What is your personal brand over and above these things? Because tomorrow, when you step out of this role, you won't have the chair or the title or the corporate brand behind you. What will you make of your life as a person, professional, entrepreneur, then onwards? So never limit your personal brand to these three ephemeral entities which are there today and gone tomorrow. That's my take on it.
One more question, I think this is from Sushil. He says, while we grow our network on a weekly basis, how will you simultaneously strengthen our existing network?
Okay, great. Absolutely. So when you're looking at expansion and amplification, you have to keep on nurturing your existing network as well. And in today's day and age, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm looking at it as a silver lining. It's become a little more easier to manage networks because we have the gift of time, right? And let's hope this gift of time continues to be there in our lives in the near future as well, even when things return to normalcy. I would strongly recommend to use the philosophy of Gotham over here. The more you break bread with people, whether it's online or offline, the more you touch base with people in your community and ecosystem every single week or every single month, depending on where you are in your life today. How often do you want to keep in touch with your community? How much time you have? Create a strategy that I am going to reach out to at least 2 to 5 people from my existing network on a weekly basis. I'm going to ensure that I have a meal in person, hopefully very soon, with 1 or 2 people from this community who are extremely important to me and who've played a critical role in my life, who've been my mentors or who I want to be my mentors, right? So you design your own blueprint depending on where you are in your life today and what you want to do with your network over a period of time. That much investment you will have to put in nurturing and gardening your network.
Great. I believe we've been able to answer most, I think, some of the key questions. If there's anything else, obviously, we can review the chat and share that maybe in some blogs or updating articles. Before we wrap up, any closing comments from your side?
No, I think that's about it for everyone who was there with us today and everyone who's still there with us today. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and I truly hope that it's been of service to you. You found the last 90 minutes now well spent, well invested actually, and you're going to go back after this session. Hopefully, you've downloaded the ebook. If any challenges, reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter or anywhere and tell me what challenges you're facing downloading the book. I will personally email it to you and you can start your journey of building your personal brand. And for all of you who have taken that leap of faith, taken that decision today to join me on this journey and given me the honor of being a partner in your life, in your personal branding journey, I cannot wait to see you on Monday afternoon. And thank you so much for being a part of this session today. Thank you, Gautam, for organizing this and helping me add value to this community.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Tanvi. On behalf of Right Selection, Tanvi and myself, thank you for your participation in the session that we had today. As I said, look out for an email tomorrow with the respective links. For those of you who registered for the upcoming sessions that we have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we look forward to seeing you at those 3 sessions. We'll send you a separate link for those who participated and registered for that. We wish you a fantastic weekend ahead and all the very best. Thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and all of you are joining me on Monday. Enjoy your weekend because your life is going to change coming Monday. Okay? Bye-bye, and see you all soon.
Thank you very much. All the best. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
You too, Gordon. Take care. Bye-bye.